Hi, this is a very different kind of video because I don't think I'm going to be talking a lot in it. Instead, I want to just introduce you to what we're going to be discussing in this particular video, which is about Black Lives Matter and what's going on in the US. We were very lucky that we got to meet with some amazing members of the Black community in the US who are sharing their experiences and what's going on right now. This video is purely for me and for you to be educated and learn from their own experiences and just to understand what is going on currently. I'm really grateful that Poetry Cafe took their time to educate us, to discuss with us and answer our questions, and hopefully you have some questions that are answered too. I would also like to mention that we are opening donations to Poetry Cafe that will then filter the funds to the Beloved Community Center in Greensboro, North Carolina. You can go through me if you don't have PayPal. I'll be opening it for I think about a week. I know that not everyone has the funds to donate, and that's okay, but if you want to help out in any way you can leave a comment under this video, and each comment will be $1 towards donations within the next 24 hours. I think that's the least we can do right now. Anyway, I've been talking a bit too much, so let's move on with the discussions.
My name is Josephus. I am the director of the Poetry Project here. Do a lot of work with young people in the public school system, in colleges, using spoken word poetry as a literacy tool for youth voice. And I'm also the founder of the Poetry Cafe, which is basically the adult version of that. We host monthly open mics. We tour colleges, universities. We work with a couple different companies, again, using poetry as a catalyst for literacy and communication, podcast, radio, and Amazon Prime TV show. And then we also have my man TC in the building. TC, you want to introduce yourself?
For the purpose of this, TC Hip Hop Caucus, been a community activist in my city for over 25 years, almost 30 years. I do a lot of work around civil and human rights, a lot of work around strengthening democracy, the voting, and heavily in the environmental justice and climate change movement. And my specialty for this conversation is I'm a Black man living in America.
Dawn is driving.
Greetings. So hi, I am Dr. Dawn Hicks Tafari. I'm an associate professor of education at the Winston-Salem State University, which is a historically Black university in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I'm a scholar activist. So what that means is I have one foot in the community and one foot in the academy. So I'm committed to bridging those two worlds and making sure that the community voice is heard at the academy in the university setting, and that what we're doing in the university is beneficial to and never exploitative of the community. So that's kind of what I do as a community activist. I'm also a hip hop scholar, hip hop feminist in particular. So my work focuses on the intersections of race and gender in education spaces and in the world, right? How we blend those two things, how we look at how race and gender are connected and impact how we move around them.
And then Farron, last but not least.
I'm just, well, not just, but I am an up-and-coming artist in the North Carolina, Greensboro area. My platform pretty much is making sure that our voices are heard in the Black community. And I'm here, just to speak from the standpoint of art and as well as being a mother and a wife, just in a regular, just Black community here. I have been doing live paintings with Josephus now for a while, and just making sure that, again, we're heard through visual art and spoken word, that our stories and our plight is understood.
There you have it. Those are our Avenger team assembled today.
But if you could maybe give us a rundown of what things are like there, what the situation is, so we kind of have a better understanding. I think that would be great to start off.
It's the tension is really high. You know, COVID put everybody inside behind the computer for a good 2.5, 3 months, and then these things that are happening in the media. I was not the first time that policemen have been gunning down Black people, not the last, but this kind of lit a new fire, and people took the internet, took to the streets, wanting justice, wanting to be heard, and wanting really justice. With the Ahmaud Arbery case, they didn't even arrest anybody until we took to the street. Breonna Taylor, I'm still not even sure if they arrested the officers that were involved in that. The Floyd case, people just were not having it. I think that's like strike one, strike two, strike three, and then we all just kind of lost it. So there have been rioting in the streets, there have been petitions being signed, there have been artwork going up, there's been vandalism, there have been uprisings. It's a combination of all these things and lots of different emotions, with regards to how, like you all, figuring out how to deal with it. So are we. Everybody does things a little bit differently, and it's important that we're able to accept everyone's idea of grief and going through, and not there's just one way. GC, what do you got?
No, I think there's a conversation that needs to be had, not in the context of the present, but context of since we, as a people, brought here and made slaves. We were not slaves. We were brought and made slaves. We were brought into a system of slavery, system of lynching and oppression and killing and castration and beating. Even in the Constitution or the institution of slavery, which was legal. And then we also know the formation of the police system was to catch runaway slaves. It was not necessarily to maintain peace and order. It was to maintain their property, which they considered Black people were, and considered them slaves. Also, you have to have the backdrop and the narrative of lynchings and public lynchings, where people were hung, people were castrated, people were burnt, and this was a festival for white people, where they would come and gather and get dressed up and watch Black people. So for the Black community, we always say, don't say pick nigga, picnic, because they would go pick a Black person to burn. Not only would they burn, where they would take pictures, where they would cut up body parts and take pictures and send photographs around the world to show that this lynching had taken place. So all these things has a factor. If you are old enough, or just remember, there was this toy, it was just like this little square box, and you will wind it up, wind it up, wind it up, wind it up. If you wind it up enough, this little thing would jump out, called Jack in the Box. And Jack will come out, all this little thing come all over the place. And what that symbolizes is that after so much pressure and pressure and pressure, it causes Jack to pop out. So what people are seeing is that oppression and that pressure on Black folks' neck. As you saw George Floyd with his knee, the officer's knee on his neck, it popped and the explosion and the people happened. But here's the problem. What usually happens is people say, oh, get back in the box, Jack. Calm down, Jack. Stop all that noise, Jack. Stop all that violence and go back in the box until we wind you back up and you pop out again. You pop out with Ahmaud Arbery. You pop out with Breonna Taylor. You pop out with Tamir Rice. You pop out with Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Sandra Bland. We can run the list of names. So the reality of what you're seeing now, as some people say, riots, no, we say it's uprising. We say it's rebellions to the corruption of a police state, of militarized things that are going on. So stuff is going on all across the nation. And it's a beautiful thing to see women in the audience, see women on the panel, because there's been women at the forefront of these struggles. There's been women on the front lines, literally risking their lives, literally getting death threats. I have friends that are on the national, international scale that are literally getting death threats all day long. So there's a reality that this is not just some mere Black Lives Matter. And also, when we say Black Lives Matter, it's not to say other lives matter, but right now we're the ones that are catching it. So somebody did something so beautiful the other day but I can't think of it. I'll pull it up later. But they showed the different things that at different times we talk about particular situations. It doesn't negate anybody else. When there's a shooting in Vegas, we say we feel for Vegas. When there's a shooting in Florida, we feel for Florida. We don't negate that other cities didn't have shootings. We're just concentrating on the people that are damaged and are hurting and is suffering at that present moment. And right now, we are crying Black Lives Matter. But we shouldn't have to say that. People should already know that our lives matter.
All right. Cool. So I think you got everybody's intro of how they're feeling right now. Frustration is a lot of it. So I guess we can kind of jump to the questions at hand.
Hi. First of all, thank you so much for the time that you took to be here and to explain this to us. It's so hard not to get emotional. I mean, just seeing everything in the media, you're still kind of, I mean, we are still really kind of distant from it, but to hear it straight from you, it's hard not to be emotional. And I want to ask, what is it about this particular killing that you think has, you know, you said like it's like a jack in the box, is 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strikes. Is there anything else about this particular killing that has enraged so many people, not just in the US, but around the world as well?
I don't think there's anything particular about this killing, to be honest, from my perspective. I think that it is really about the pressure and the seeing it time and time again, because you know, we've seen it. You know, cell phone cameras are part of our culture now. So we've seen Black deaths time and time again. I think one thing that stands out about this particular case is the fact that this man actually called out to his mother. You know, with the Mike Brown incident, he said he couldn't breathe either. So this is not the first time that we've heard "I can't breathe," but I think this is the first time that we actually heard a man call out for his mother. Like, so he almost knew that he was dying, and you know, for 7, 8, 9 minutes we had to watch that. And so I think it almost becomes unreal, like, because you're not even sure this is reality, but you're literally sitting there watching a person die. I think with Mike Brown, you saw, you know, a lot of officers all around him, but in this instance, you can literally see the life leaving this man's body, and him calling for his mother. And like you said, it's hard not to be emotional. And as a Black man, it's hard not to see yourself in that picture. As a Black woman, it's hard not to see that being your brother or your father or your son. And the more we see it, the harder it is to accept.
Yeah, and that's Eric Gardner.
Yeah,
Josephus said, who I can't breathe 12 times.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, it's the sameness of it. Like, again, ain't you tired? Like, this is the same thing. So we keep giving America chances. We keep giving America chances to get it right. Okay, Eric Gardner happened. Okay, that was different. Okay, Trayvon Martin. Okay, that was different. Okay, Philando Castile. Okay, that was different. Okay, Sandra Bland. Okay, that was different. This is almost the exact same thing that has happened, right? I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Like, didn't you learn the last time a brother was saying he can't breathe what happened? You know, and so for me, it's the sameness of it, like that really is just a pure disregard of Black life, right? A sincere disregard of Black life. That for me is just the thing that's like, all right, enough is enough.
I'm just going to really brief. I'm just going to say for me, what did this for me is just the sheer, just how blatant it was, how out in the open and in your face it was, with just no respect, no regard for just, I mean, for Black life, like, period. You know, just to sit there with your weight and the weight of 3 men on 1 man, that did it for me. You know, I mean, all the other, of course, cases that we've had before, and then the fact that I'm a Black mother, you know, I have a 10-year-old son, you know, I've already had several conversations, way more conversations about this with my son than a mother should have, and it's traumatic. So the trauma that comes along with that, and like I said, just how blatant it was. I think there was a point in time where the officer actually looks into the camera as if he is justified in killing this man, and he has a look on his face like, I wish someone would say something to me. I wish someone would check me. I wish somebody would do something. Like, he is supposed to be doing this. Like, it is his right to be doing this. And I think that's what has done it too for people. It's just how open and in your face it was with, and it was unapologetic. You can tell the actions and the mannerisms behind his and expressions. It was unapologetic.
Is there any kind of misinformation? I mean, we're exposed to so much information now. Is there any kind of misinformation that's out there that you feel is most harmful to Black people, or just most harmful to Black people?
With regards to misinformation, man, it's everywhere. I would just say research. The things that you're seeing, because sometimes, even I will repost an article or a video, and it'll be something from 5 years ago, and I just have no idea until I look deeper into it. The biggest thing that I think in the Black community that is divisive and harmful is the dissension of our own ranks. So often we don't agree with one another about how somebody's doing something, and it automatically divides us. It starts conversations within our own communities about who's not doing something right or well, who should be talking, who shouldn't be talking. And sometimes you miss the forest for the trees. And so the biggest thing for me, I think, is respecting each other's views within our own communities and our own struggles, understanding that we all can do things differently and still push towards a higher goal.
I want to speak more to the misinformation. As Josephus said, that it's everywhere. But I would focus more on what the misinformation does, or the lack of the misinformation does. There's so much misinformation around the rioting and the looting and things like that. And for me, what it does, I feel like it takes the focus off of the main issue. And I think I just don't want the issue and the plight of what's going on with Black people to get lost in all of the misinformation, or to just focus on one part of it and focus on this, that we get off of track of what we're really fighting for and what we're fighting against.
All right. Yeah, I don't think we need to go any further on that question. Oh, wow. That'll do it. I agree. And two, I want to say that, like, if you see us laughing and joking and smiling, throughout this conversation, know that this is very serious to us, but at the same time, we are all family. We do this all the time. And even in our lowest moments, we find room to smile, and hearing, how passionately, they're speaking about how they feel and what they see, makes me happy, brings me joy. The fact that we're on a conversation, with Brunei on the other side of the world makes me happy, in this time and moment and what we're going through, that we have people that are allied with us on the other side of the world is a dope, positive thing. So please don't, misinterpret the smile, the laughter that we share, because this is a beautiful moment. And sometimes we miss that. Sometimes we miss the beautiful moments because we're pushing so hard for the end. But today, right now, is dope. So don't discount this moment.
First of all, thank you so much for being here and helping and educate us about what is going on right now. I actually want to ask two questions, but the first one I want to ask now because it actually is quite relevant to what she said about misinformation and mainstream news. Particularly, I want to ask whether mainstream media like CNN, Fox, NBC, as well as, media that we consume here, do you think they accurately portray the Black Lives Matter movement, the riots, the uprising, and the rest? But as well as alternative news like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, how do you feel about media kind of influencing the way that people outside of the country of the US
is thinking of the protest.
Cool. John, I'm gonna let you take this one since you missed out on the last question.
So I think the answer is right there. The fact that you still use the term riots, right? So language matters, and the fact that these uprisings are being portrayed as riots speaks volumes, right? These are not riots. Riots are unmitigated. They're random acts of group violence that oftentimes just deal with anger. They're not really focused, right? They are, like I said, they can be fairly random. These are uprisings. So I think that that's an important thing to think about, is that the media is portraying Black folks' frustration, the pressure popping, right? The jack in the box as riots, that we're just angry and we're just out here looting and fighting and vandalizing, as opposed to all of the attempts at peaceful protest. What is that? So we've been peacefully protesting. And so, but when we do that, we're criticized for that. And so when we stop peacefully protesting and we take to the streets and we take a more aggressive approach to our protests, to our uprisings, then we're critiqued for that as well. So I think that's an important thing, is the language matters, right? As we look at social media, to really understand that these are not riots, they're uprisings. And when you force yourself to interpret what the media is feeding you in that way, it helps you to better understand who we are and what we're going through and how we're trying to really just affect change in society.
Yeah, and I also say that all major outlets, news media, not only capturing the Black Lives Matter movement wrong, so you need an alternative lens to see what it is. And I think the reality, as we looked at Ahmaud Arbery, the people in that, the men wouldn't have never been arrested if it hadn't been for social media. Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown would not have been known or been in the mass media. The mass media only came because the people was talking about it, and it was all over social media, so they had no choice. They would look dumb, they would lose money if they didn't come and try to cover it. So the reality, because of social media, a lot of the narratives, a lot of the conversations that are on mainstream media are as a result of social media. Now, like you said, social media, that's some narrative, just like the news could be wrong, and everybody got to do a fact check. But then the discussion on social media is what's more important. Feelings and the expressions of the people, which will not be taught and expressed in mainstream media. Those are the things that the alternative media, social media, offers to critique mainstream media when they put out a narrative and they put out a label of what's going on without the context. And let me just say this: a riot, we ain't gonna be going. If it was a riot, we wouldn't be taking time to meet no post. Doesn't happen in a riot. So this is a peaceful protest. It's organized, and people are structured. We know what we're doing. We got chants. We got saying.
I'll just keep mine really short. I think that's a great question. And I think this ties into what TC said earlier with regards to the system. The system is designed, right, to make us look a certain way, period. And so you will understand more of what we're going through and what's actually happening, what we're doing now with conversations, with taking a little bit from social media, taking a little bit from the news, taking a little bit from other areas to form your own picture and perception of what's happening. But the major media outlets are designed to make things look a certain way. That's their job, and they're doing it properly. But you can never depend on somebody else to give you the real deal in education. You got to get it for yourself. So I would definitely say continue to see and look and educate yourself about it from as many different perspectives as possible in order to get the true story, because nobody's going to give it to you straight. Everybody's going to have their own spin on how they want you to see things.
I think you guys have also kind of acknowledged the fact that this all has happened during the COVID situation right now. Realistically, let's say worst case scenario, everyone out there protesting right now, they're putting their lives out on the line, and let's say everyone, worst case scenario, everyone gets it, everyone's in hospitals. What happens to the movement then? Does it move online? does it lose traction and like it just ends there? Like, where does it go from there? Or like, how do you kind of move away from that?
Nothing's going to stop. Let me say this. There's a point, you may stop something for a moment, just a moment, but you will never stop it. So COVID may happen now. We may be in shelter place for a couple of months, but remember, COVID was going on before this happened, and we was in place. Once this happened, the hell with COVID, we in the streets. It's like people like, COVID is gone. The oppression got so great, the hell with COVID, we in the streets. It's going to always be something that's going to happen. And the reality, we are on Zoom. The reality, people will be, we going to find a way. So we're going to always find a way to uprise. And let me put it this a better way. Did y'all know, and I'm going to be funny about it, did y'all know that slaves didn't have cell phones? And they communicated and ran away. So I'm being funny about it is that regardless of what obstacles put in our place, because sometimes we overlook that people ran for freedom at night. And they ran. They didn't get on no plane. They didn't get on no bus. They didn't drive. They ran through swamplands, through dogs. They got away, and nothing that was in the way stopped them. Innately, your nature will not allow you to stay oppressed forever. So whatever it takes to fight, there's the spirit in us that's going to fight. The slave master or the oppressor always tries to press it down, and they may get the masses, but there's those few that can't stay pressed down. And the slave master is always looking to kill that one that will pop up and cause the other ones to pop up. But it's in us. There's nothing biological that's in the atmosphere. There's nothing that's just going to stop us from doing and seeking that which is our human right. It's our human right to clean air and clean water. It's our human right to not be oppressed. It's our human right to express who we are and the nature in which we are. It's our human right, and we're going to do it naturally, and no one's going to have to tell us. So always know that the movement is not based off somebody orchestrating something. The movement is about your own nature calling you to do what you know is right.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add a little spin on that. I look at it optimistically. You know, I think COVID is a catalyst. You have to think about all things that are happening for a reason. There's a cause and effect. When I think about a diamond is created out of time and pressure and heat, but you get this beautiful quote unquote priceless thing that is created. So when I see these obstacles, I see the opportunity for us to mobilize, to come together and to be great. I see them as opportunities, you know what I'm saying, for us to become stronger. People want to get stronger. They want to be smarter, right? They don't want to do the work. In order to get stronger, you literally have to lift the weights in front of you. Without the weights, without the obstacles, it's impossible to get stronger. Fact. It's impossible to be strong without lifting the weights in front of you. So when I see obstacles, when I see COVID, when I see these things that are happening, these are the weights that are necessary to make us the people that we are, to bring us together the way that we are. We wouldn't be together right now if it wouldn't be for tragedy. It happened. It was important for this moment to exist. And I want to thank you all too for the questions and for the time. You know, this is
awesome
dope.
question.
So I definitely want to show our appreciation for what you all have created an opportunity and space for this to happen.
Thank you.
So we are also very thankful and appreciative of the time that you all have given, the energy. And I will close with this poem. A couple of words of inspiration. And then we kind of move on from there. Again, thank you all definitely for allowing us the space, for listening, for even being interested in our plight and how we can connect to move forward. Because I think that is the catalyst that makes this thing work. So they tried to bury us. Didn't know that we were seeds. Hole 6 feet deep, surprised to see our black fists sprout from the soil. They tried to drown us. didn't know that we were fish. Ignorance is bliss, tried dropping us from the mountaintop, didn't know that we could fly. They are the lie when faced with the truth. I mean, think about it. As the world turns, the sun ever really stop shining? Does success ever truly know defeat? We are the everlasting epitome of opportunity. We're optimism incarnate, a sonnet, Moses' staff caught in the Red Sea, a line in the sand, the power of prayer. They set me ablaze, forgot I was a phoenix. They're trying to kill us daily, but we just keep creating new ways to live. You see branches extend from the heavens. See me blossom. Seeds get scattered to the wind. We grow like weeds, like roses from concrete. We seek only light, but grow in darkness through stress and strain and time and pressure. There's so much pressure and heat. We be diamonds. Reminds me of a shooting star. The reality is actually falling from the sky. Black man shot down in white tee. Black man shot down while jogging. Black man chanting, I can't breathe. Black man dies by need. But we make a wish anyway. In the spirit of this conversation, you know, what we're doing and what we're living, like TC said, no matter what happens, we're not going to stop. You know, we are constantly evolving and learning and growing, and for every cause, there's an effect. And we are the effect of what's happening. And we'll keep evolving, keep growing. Like he said, there were no tablets and Twitter during slavery time. We found a way. In this moment, we're still finding a way. We're still growing and learning and coming together in different ways that we never thought were imaginable. So reimagine, you know, redefine, take each obstacle and allow it to strengthen you, to remind you that we can all do this together. So again, thank you for having us.
I want to say thank you to everyone who's watched it, and for Poetry Cafe, for Joseph, TC, Farron, and Dr. Dawn, who gave their insights. It's been incredible to just listen to them. I also need to remind everyone that it was a 2-hour discussion, so we were there for a very long time, and I can only probably fit in about half an hour of footage. So I'm really sorry. I hope you enjoyed the video. I promise something lighter will come, but if you do like this video, please do like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to donate. Please donate if you can. And yeah, my name's Bash Harry, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.